My name is Rita Jensen, and I'm happy to welcome you to this assessment series. In my first life, I was an English major. After graduating from college, I began my career by teaching middle school language arts. But eventually, my professional path took me to a university faculty position that focused on teacher preparation. It's likely that you took a much different path to bring you where you are today. Many college and university faculty members were content experts first, and later acquired the skills and dispositions we associate with effective teaching. Some began their careers as practitioners in particular fields, such as engineering, music, or nursing, and then transitioned into teaching and helping prepare others to join their professions. Regardless of the different paths we took to get here, all college and university faculty members need to be highly qualified in their teaching fields. That is an essential prerequisite, but is insufficient in and of itself. Faculty also must be effective teachers who use a variety of strategies to guide student learning. In addition, they need to use a variety of strategies to determine what their students have learned and what they can do. Consequently, assessment serves as our focus here. We begin by introducing key terms and identifying the purposes of assessment. Then we move on to explore characteristics of effective assessment, examples of traditional assessment, and a variety of assessment alternatives. The series concludes with a discussion of a few practical assessment issues. And that's a brief overview of this particular series. How do you know what they know? I'd like to begin by telling you about Andy, who was a first-year faculty member teaching developmental composition. Because I served as his supervisor, one of the things I got to do was observe Andy's teaching. Consequently, after consulting with him about the scheduling details, one afternoon I observed his teaching, per the guidelines provided in the faculty handbook. Our post-observation conference began something like this. Andy, let's take a look at some of the student papers that you shared with me. Here's one that you gave a grade of C+. Can you tell me what makes this paper a C+?
Not really.
Sure you can. What were you looking for as you read the paper?
Well, we've been working on writing narratives that have a clear beginning, middle, and end. So, those were the main things I was looking for.
All right, being able to state what you were looking for as you read the paper is an important first step. Now, if the student who wrote it asked you why you assigned her paper a grade of C+ instead of a B or an A, what would you say?
I don't know.
I went on to use this post-observation conference as a teachable moment to talk with Andy about the differences between assessing, evaluating, and grading, and the importance of using specific criteria and tools such as rubrics to guide the assessment of student learning. If you're teaching in a way that helps students learn, then you definitely assess and evaluate student work. And if you're teaching in a college or university, then you also most likely grade student work. But of course, the expectation is that you read, assess, and evaluate student work before grading it. More than ever, it's also important for teachers to be able to defend the grades they assign to students' work. We begin this assessment series by defining key terms. Assessment is the process of collecting or gathering performance data or information. There are many ways of assessing. For example, observing someone giving a persuasive speech, measuring how high someone can jump, or asking someone to analyze World War II's effects on the U.S. economy. Evaluation is the process of bringing or assigning meaning to data that have been collected. It involves making judgments or drawing conclusions based on information that has been gathered. For example, after listening to a persuasive speech, you might conclude that it is effective because it prompted listeners to act or moved them to respond in a certain way. Or, as a nurse educator, you might determine that a student is not adequately prepared for a particular field placement or internship. You would reach that conclusion by using information about the student's performance to that point in the professional program. Grading is simply a means of communicating student proficiency. When used appropriately, Grades accurately reflect students' achievement of preset targets and specific learning outcomes. Grading should not be tied to the learner's effort, attitude, or personality, and it should have nothing to do with punishments or rewards.